Welcome to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Good morning. Welcome to Bike Week Radio Show. San Diego Sports Leader, Mighty 1090. It's a good morning for me. It's a good morning for Paul and Scott. Broc Glover, we got him all riled up here before the show.
He's pissed.
Oh, my goodness. He's ready to go. Like a bulldog, just pulling at the chain, ready to go.
Actually, I'm happy but ready to go.
Which is good, though, because if the show was an hour from now, Broc would have been...
This is what it was like lining up next to Broc when he was racing.
I'm just a guy that's, right is right, wrong is wrong. And when wrong is wrong, that's what it is. It needs to be called out.
Broc Glover, the defender of all mankind.
But defender of off-road.
Tell us what the issue's about,
defenders of off-road motorcycle riders. I mean, you know what? I love motorcycle. It's been really good to me. And I like off-road motorcycle riding. What a great family recreation. What a neat activity. It's what supports all of us day in and day out. It's put foods on the table at the Glover household. And, we had a big election this last week, and I'm happy with the results of how it came out because I'm tired of, it doesn't take a whole lot. We were trying to get Don Amador on to come and explain it. Unfortunately, Don's dealing with helping his ill mother, but it was a very positive thing. I mean, we have a side of the country right now. I mean, it's a kind of a vocal minority. They're, the Green Party. Hey, you can't tell me off-road vehicles. Most off-road vehicle riders, just like, I'm sure there's a bad apple out there here and there, but most of us are technically environmentalists. We like the outdoors. We do lots of things. I mean, I go up to our house in Idaho, and 90% of the trails are maintained by off-road vehicles. And the motorcycle riders put backpacks, chainsaws in their back. They go up and help clean the trails.
Forest Service uses them for fight fires.
They do. I mean, they go up and help clean up the trails. They help maintain the trails. They do so many things for hikers and horsebacks and mountain bikers and motorcycle riders. And then to find, when the government comes in and makes crazy decisions and just closes all this land off for off-road vehicles with no. I mean,
so cite an example, Broc.
Well, I mean, here was an example. I was just looking, and one of the earlier in the year, in May, for instance, the headline reads, the Obama administration doubles down on the BLM land grab. I mean, they took 500,000 acres in New Mexico, and they now are claiming it's a national monument. So basically, it bans all ranchers, off-road vehicles, and recreational vehicles from the land. So these kind of activities are what's closing our land, and hopefully we'll be able to put a stop to it with the results of the election because when it comes down to it, people like Barbara Boxer and the Senate committee that runs that group of environmental agencies will no longer be in charge anymore. And so hopefully somebody with some common sense will say, okay, hey, listen, we can't just keep doing these land grabs for no reason unless we have some.
Off-roaders can't just sit back and watch stuff happen.
Exactly. I mean, most people, politics is it's just disgusting. I mean, if you get in it, the deeper you get into it, it's disgusting. But the point is, if we just ignore it and act like it's not going to happen, it's not going to be that much longer, and we're not going to have places to ride our off-road vehicles. So,
Bobby, you talked to Don Amador. He's agreed to come on the next week or two.
Yeah, he's going to come on here.
The bottom line, the results of all the midterm elections and
exactly
and the issues that Broc is touching right
now. Yeah, I mean, Barbara Boxer is the chairman of the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee. I mean, that group is basically, she's a puppet of the environmental groups, and and that one right now has been controlled by what I would call the green parties and the left's very extreme left. I mean, there's moderate left and the extreme left. The extreme left is the one that seems to be closing all the public lands to off-road vehicles. So she will no longer be in charge of it, and they're probably going to put James Inhofe in, who's a senator from Oklahoma, who's the Green Party says that he doesn't believe in global warming at all. I mean, I think his real stance is that he isn't so quick to judge that it's all man-made, and if there is climate change, that it's not particularly being done by man. And he wants some more evidence. And the fact is, he's also not somebody that just says, let's just close 500,000 acres or have the government grab 500,000 acres and claim it's a national monument just because you don't want ranchers and off-road and recreational vehicles on it. So it's going to be I think the election is a good thing, and congratulations to all you guys got out there and voted and changed the landscaping of the country for at least another couple of years.
Yeah, and Don said, there's still a few elections where the votes are being tallied, and so he said we still don't know the official final
right,
votes for everybody. But he said it's definitely swinging in favor of the off-road.
But at this
community.
point, though, there's no doubt that they can't. The Senate and the House are both going to be controlled by the Republicans, who tend to be. I'm not saying you need to be a Republican to be an off-road rider. I'm not saying you need to be a Democrat to be one. I'm just saying they tend to not.
You need to look at the issues. You need to see, what the impact's going to be, regardless. I don't care which side of the aisle it comes from, but
exactly.
You need to see how is this affecting me and my area, and what's the trend. And the trend typically has been little by little they chip away because, compared to the hardcore environmentalists, and to Broc's point, yeah, we're off-road users, we're environmentalists, but we're not organized to the degree that the other opposing forces are, and they take advantage of that. They know we're just going to sit back and wait for something to happen, and we start responding too often when it's too late.
Exactly, and Scott makes a strong point. I mean, it's when you have the green or the very extreme left environmental groups being funded by billionaires, and I haven't seen the last time. The only billionaire I even know of is probably Jim Gennard from Oakley, and I haven't seen Jim come up and say, I'm going to give $100 million to the motorcycle community so they can fight some of these things. I've never seen him do that. It'd be nice if he maybe did, considering his roots are from motorcycling. But the fact is, the left green side has that kind of power, and believe me, that money, as we know in politics, it's a pretty dirty little cesspool there in Washington, D.C., and so it ends up the money talks, and next thing you know, we don't have any land to ride on. So I want to have land, I want my kids to have land, and I want my kids to be able to take their kids out motorcycle riding. So,
when you look at there's a little map that you brought up, that article that we've all been looking at, and it's a huge swing, for everybody here on the left side of the country, because
the western United States, when it starts right the eastern side of Montana, eastern side of Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, all that way to the left.
Yep.
I mean, that is, California is almost 50% of federal land, and Nevada is 84.5% federal land. So when they start grabbing, you say, oh, yeah, well, we have a lot of federal land. We can give up some of that. But when you start grabbing to 500,000 here, or 2 million, whatever, 1 million there, you start
before you know it.
You got it, and pretty soon. I mean, the Colorado communities are well aware of that. It's tough to ride up there. I mean, we're even doing things, even the discussions in my own personal job. I mean, we're talking about designing tires that are more green to the environment. Maybe they don't have as big a knobbies to tear up the trails. I mean, we're looking at things. Yes, we are a company that, and we are a group of people, off-road people, that are trying to do everything they can to keep trails open. So, again, voting was there was some power to voting there.
And like you said, the people who are out there actually on the trails riding it are the ones who maintain it the best, rather than people who just let it sit there and no one gets to play with it.
Absolutely. For me, my most involvement is up in the mountains in Idaho. I mean, there's a strong community of people up there that they live up there because they love the outdoors. They love skiing. They love cross-country skiing. They love motorcycle riding, mountain biking. They love doing all of that. Many of the guys that I know that ride motorcycles off-road also mountain bike. So they're the ones, it's pretty hard to take a mountain bike up and say, listen, we got a big log blocking 3 of the trails last winter. The snow knocked them down. Trails are opening up as soon as they get dry enough to ride. It's pretty hard for a guy on a mountain bike to take up a chainsaw and a bunch of stuff and to be able to haul it. So the motorcycle.
I've tried it. It's all damn impossible.
Believe me, it's okay downhill, but going uphill with a big chainsaw on your back is not comfortable. So the point is, these are the guys that ride their motorcycles up there. They're doing the maintenance on the trails. They're doing some of this stuff, and then everybody rides their mountain bike up. Hey, these trails are great. Yeah, how do you think they got so great? There's other people involved, and so, everybody needs to work together. We have to have the trails open for mountain bike and motorcycles and horses and all the things, and ride responsibly and all that, but we certainly need to have a voice here, and that's what happened last Tuesday.
Well, let's research that over the next week or two, and let's get Don, because he's our go-to man when it comes to these
issues. He's up to
Don Amador,
the
quiet warrior.
Yep, he's up to his eyebrows and the things. So
I'm going to stop at Glover's next week to get coffee on the way in, because whatever he's drinking. Whatever he's
just
drinking,
believe
I
me.
need some. He's fired up.
I guess it does. It fires me up when if I start looking in, get on the internet, start looking up stories and start seeing stuff. It's like, you got to be kidding me. They just can't leave well enough alone. It's like they just don't stop. It's every day. It's like every day they're trying to figure out a way to, circumvent the rules and turn to something. Like I said, you just can't come in here and go, hey, listen, we're going to close this area because
But if they're
of this.
unchallenged, it's like somebody not battling with you if you're racing for the podium. If a guy's just going to wave you by, which kind of we do. We just go, well.
We've had guests on here talk about Ocotillo Wells. It's like, if it's not the lizards, and literally I have people out there counting lizards. It's like, seriously, how do you count lizards? How do you know you don't count the same lizard?
Yeah, is that
twice?
the same one?
Yeah,
No,
it's like, wait, no, he looks a little different. Wait, hold on, no, yeah, exactly.
They
It's
put
like
little shirts on them, like colored shirts.
I agree.
Well, they tag them. They put ear tags on
yeah.
them.
There you go.
But the problem is finding those ears.
And so then they go from they figure out, hey, listen, actually this lizard isn't in a situation where it's going to disappear on us and go extinct because of you off-road riders. Then they go after a flower. Then they go, wait a minute, this is a rare flower. And so it just never stops. And then, our local deserts and things like that, and pretty soon when it becomes so impossible to go riding anywhere and everybody's condensed into a little caged area, it's not nearly as much fun. And so,
and you can put creative titles on whatever thing you're trying to push through to make it seem
There's
like,
always a fancy name.
Exactly. To make it seem like it's
the Society of Green Clean Air Group of it's like they come up with these catchy names that sounds like a good thing. I like that.
Who wouldn't want to support that?
Yeah, exactly. We all want clean water and clean air. So.
Clean air and protect the lizards.
Of course, that Bobby Wu environmental sushi bar thing you tried, Bobby, last year was
organic.
Next time you want to name something, let's spend some time.
Sustainable.
Sustainable.
So let's get off of this. Okay, so we got my point.
Yes, and if you want to join the conversation too,
Paul wants to weigh in.
Yeah, I'm not sure what side Brock stands on this. So could you explain?
I'm going to explain what side I'm standing on.
Middle of the road waffling.
So I'm explaining what side I have to ask. I want people to be able to go ride their off-road motorcycles.
I'm going to go with what he said.
And maybe we do have a pretty good day to field some phone calls. So if it strikes a passion with you like it has our good friend Broc Glover right here, you can give us a call and hear
Don't
your
be
opinion
afraid.
on it. Yeah.
Call.
877-792-1090 or 858-457-1090. But we do have a lot of news.
Is that Barbara Boxer on the line?
Yeah, it's the soon-to-be less important one. So, Bobby, come on, Orange County Harley.
We do have one phone call here. Josh, who apparently was fired up from Broc Glover's rant, and, I don't blame him. Broc Glover, inspiring the people.
Bring him in.
Yeah, and whenever the next election is, write in vote Broc Glover.
Please don't.
But, Josh, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good.
I listened to the show before you guys. I'm not an off-roader. I don't ride motorcycles, but I fish, and the same thing that's affecting the off-road is affecting people who fish and people who hunt and people who just enjoy the outdoors. And I'm sitting here thinking, how do we get all of these groups together?
Yeah, that's a good question, Josh. What would you recommend from your side of the pond? No pun intended. What should we do?
There's these entities that represent all these different interests. The off-roaders to the fishermen to, we have to get the heads of those committees together at the same table and just put together, one big voice to stop this kind of stuff from happening.
I agree with you, Josh, and it's a strong point. And I thank you for calling in. I know you crossed the aisles here from fishing. We've actually got some people who very much enjoy fishing at this table here right now. But it is true. To me, it needs to be like a recreation coalition, and it doesn't matter what kind of recreation you want. You want to use the Great Outdoors Recreation Coalition, and so it's it is something that needs. But I think the people spoke this last Tuesday, and I think it needs to continue down. Maybe we were just one little tiny part of it, but by contacting your local representatives, congressmen, senators, you have a situation there that at least they know you're out there and that you vote, and so that's it's an important thing. And it is kind of frustrating when I have friends that say, "Oh, this just drives me nuts. I don't bother voting." Well, you know what? That's a bad attitude. You better start voting pretty soon. For in our world,
somebody's voting for you. Whether you're voting
exactly.
or not, somebody's.
Yeah, you got.
I thank people sometimes for not voting because it just made my vote
count
more
more.
valuable, but that's certainly the wrong view to take.
Yeah, exactly. So I appreciate, Josh, thanks for calling in and
Yeah,
weighing
Josh,
in.
stay engaged and appreciate you listening to our show. And we are fishermen. We dig it. We're big fans of Pete and the Let's Talk Cooking
Hookup guys,
Let's Talk Hookup crew, and I like where you're headed with this. We probably should get together and at least. Hey, we go fishing.
Yep.
How about we charter a boat and we get all the moto guys on there and the fish guys on there, and we make a strategy.
Exactly.
There you go.
I mean, hey, we're all for having cleaner running outboards. We're all for having this. Like, we don't want to smell the diesel. We don't want to have our outboards being dirty. Absolutely, of course, we're for that, and there's no question about it. So we're trying to do it, and fishermen are the ones that are probably, as much as anything, trying to be sustainable and keep. You want fish there for when your kid or you take your child out. You want to go out and catch some fish. You don't want to have to go out there and go, well, too bad. My generation actually took all the fish out of the water, so you're not going to catch anything. So I agree. We need to all stick together. Maybe it's the Recreation Coalition, and we'll go from there.
Starting here with Josh's call. Thank you, Josh.
All right, take care, guys.
Yeah, and I like his point, too. Yeah, instead of having 5 small, little, squeaky voices, have one big powerful voice. Yeah, exactly.
Holy.
I agree with you totally. I mean, it's just a matter of having a voice there. So, come on, Bobby.
Bobby, you were busy this week while
Tell
I was
us,
in Italy.
let's get to the real
eating pasta, drinking wine, and
Okay, that's impressive.
Orange
I'm
County.
seeing photographic
Come on.
evidence here that you
But it
were
was
hard at work.
for
Yes.
a good cause on Friday. Tell us what you did on Friday, Bobby.
Yes, indeed. And so we'll get into Paul's news here. We're going to push him back to a later segment. Also, we'll be joined by Jim Dusky from the IMS Long Beach show. IMS is coming next weekend, next Friday, Saturday,
Is he
Sunday.
avoiding what he's telling us? I think really what the listeners need to
Beating
do.
around the bush. They need to go to our Facebook
Go to
page,
Facebook
Bike Week Radio
page.
Show on Facebook, and search out Bobby. It won't be hard because
We know what Bobby was doing on Friday.
Right. He was reaching out, so to speak.
I
and
think that's
working with a key sponsor, our friends from Russ Brown.
There are things that it's actually a benefit to be a little bit shorter.
Yes.
And a jockey, obviously, that's one, right? Road racer. Most
Bobby's
of the time, road
expression in
racers.
that photo.
And there's one other thing that I can think
Posing
of.
with models.
Posing with models at bike. And all for a good all representing the Bike Week Radio Show.
Well, yes,
I love
indeedy. This last Friday, I was up at Orange County Harley-Davidson, where we were a part of the I-War ride, and you take off from Orange County Harley into Camp Pendleton. And Bike Week Radio Show sends me, which the appeal and the draw is 0. But Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys send...
It looked like he had a little jaw in that photo.
They send their beautiful representative, Kitty, and she comes up there, and she was so excited that we were partnered together. And
Did I hear him just say kitty?
Kitty.
Kitty's fantastic.
Meow.
How dare you? She's a nice lady.
Kitty was fantastic, and she was not only a hustler and out there working for Russ
Hustler.
Brown, passing out all kinds of flyers
You
and
mean
stickers.
she works
and signing
hard at
people
her
up for
job?
the
Had
band.
to go
Exactly. Unlike the Bike Week Radio Show crew who just goes there to...
Who hustled who in that photo, Bobby?
And so I had the pleasure of snapping one quick photo with Kitty, although it took three or four takes, obviously. The lighting's not good. Get together, squeezing tight, Yeah.
Can you forward me
What's
that
the print
pic?
on
Would
those
you
trousers,
would you
Bobby?
forward me that photo? I'm going
I'd
to
be
make sure to
happy
show
to.
our daughter
Seriously, everybody,
what to watch out for.
Everybody should definitely 100%, if they've never been to our Facebook page, and even if you never go back to our
Now's
Facebook
your
page,
time.
I would definitely recommend going there now.
Absolutely. You'll get a picture of Bobby and what he's all about. And this is what I'm going to
this
explain
is-
to our
this is
teenage
Bobby.
daughter
Yeah.
what bad boys are just bad.
Avoid these.
This
kind
is
of
Bobby
guys.
personified right here.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
We actually are
Hey,
impressed.
but we are proud of you, Bobby. I
jealous.
mean, you carried the heavy load. You put on the Bike Week Radio Show backpack with all our remote tools in it, and you made your way up to Orange County and somehow suffered through.
For what
He's-
reason? Good cause. Tell us
Yeah,
the
great
cause,
cause.
because obviously I'm fired up. And now when you go to Facebook page and see this, you're all fired up checking out that. Tell us
different
what
kind
the
of
cause
fire
was.
in a different area of the anatomy.
What was the cause?
Indeed, it was the I-War Ride Injured Warrior project, and all the proceeds go to that. And so we had 500-plus people on bikes hanging out, having a cup of coffee for a couple hours, and then they hopped on the bikes and rode right into Camp Pendleton. And another really cool thing, I hadn't seen this before, but a young man also re-enlisted, had his re-enlistment took his oath up on stage, and it was very cool. And had some of his family there to support him as well. And so it was really cool to see someone recommitting back to the Army. And they said he is until he's 60 years old now. And
wow.
He had, I think, like another 30 years to go or something to get to that. So it's very cool that he was committing for another 30-ish years.
For the Marines, not the Army.
I think it was the Army.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
okay,
I think
so it's just military.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think it was military. There's and so
cool.
it was cool to get to talk to him too. And
so the event supported all branches of the military, not just the Marine Corps.
Yeah, exactly.
Just happened to be close to Camp Pendleton because that's where Orange County.
He said he was he signed up for the ride, and he had to re-enlist and have the ceremony. And he said, "Oh, I can't do Friday. I'm a part of the ride." And then the cool people in the military said, "Hey, just do it there. We'll put you up on stage
at Orange County Harley Davidson,
right there at Orange County Harley." In fact,
know what? Big shout out and tip of the visor to those guys. That's an awesome deal.
They came over to the Bike Week radio show tent where we had a little table set up, our beer koozies and pens and cups and all that fun stuff. And he actually signed his papers right there on our table.
No way! And you, where's your camera? Come on.
I was more in awe. I missed it.
He wasted all his film with the kitty photos.
His knees were knocking.
Memory full.
I guess we don't have film
memory full, kitty. Dude, you got a 64. Your phone has plenty of
I got to
memory.
let you guys know that I'm on the Injured Warrior Appreciation Run Facebook page, and they raised $70,000 on Friday during that event. So
very cool.
I would say all the planets align, and we're certainly proud to be part of that event. And thanks to Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys for tying us into this and a lot of other great events that they participate in.
Not to mention too, they had a little drone with a GoPro attached to it that was capturing the entire ride. And so you're going to want to check out injuredwarriorride.com. I'm sure the video will be up
it's on there
shortly.
Yeah.
And it has a little drone of the ride and everybody getting ready and the whole setup. And I know they were taking video of the guy re-enlisting as well. And so
very cool.
Definitely check that out. But once again, we're going to get into Paul's news here. We got to take one quick break because we have Jim Dusky from the IMS Long Beach show. So we'll do news.
A lot of news on the flip side, too.
On the flip side, and indeed is also Scott.
I'm just back. I'm literally a couple hours off the plane from Milan, Italy. It's at the big international motorcycle show, the EICMA show in Milan, and lots to talk about. Too much for one show, but I'll give you some of the highlights.
And so we'll get into Scott as well as Paul with the news. But coming up next, Jim Dusky will be talking about the IMS Long Beach show coming this next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, November 14th, 15th, and 16th. And Bike Week Radio Show will be up there as well.
We'll be there.
With our good partners, once again, Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys will be at their booth on Saturday morning, taping some interviews, shaking some hands, kissing some babies. And so we'll be up there. Feel free to stop by and say hello. But here's one of those helpful riding hints, once again, from our good friends at Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys have been representing riders for decades. And here's Chuck Coro from Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys to provide you with a helpful riding hint.
California has a basic speed law governed by Vehicle Code Section 22350. Requires that your speed be reasonable for the circumstances. You cannot go 65 miles an hour just because the speed limit says you can. You have to be aware of your surroundings and only travel at a speed that's reasonably and safe for conditions.
This helpful hint has been brought to you by Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys at 1-800-4BIKERS or online at russbrown.com.
Hey guys, this is James from Toyota of Escondido. For the heavy-duty truck that you need for work or play, shop right here at Toyota of Escondido. Come down and check out the new 2013 Toyota Tacoma or the 2013 Toyota Tundra. We've got the perfect vehicle to fit your active lifestyle with most vehicles at 0% on approved credit. Stop by, give us a call, or visit us online at the only place for big-time trucks, ToyotaEscondido.com.
Toyota of Escondido.
Freeway close where Highway 78 meets Broadway, just east of the 15.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
For 46 years, Costa Mesa Speedway has been the most exciting, colorful, and unpredictable live-action show ever. From the comfort of grandstand seating, your friends and family will witness top professional speedway motorcycle racing, insane two-man sidecar teams, Harley hardcores, freestyle motocross, and much more. Check out their entire schedule at CostaMesaSpeedway.net. Costa Mesa Speedway on the Orange County Fairgrounds Saturday nights. Don't miss it. CostaMesaSpeedway.net. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year. Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7. Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown, 1-800-4BIKERS, and online at russbrown.com.
You're listening to Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back, Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego sports leader, mighty 1090. Thank you guys again for joining us and listening through either 1090 or BikeWeekRadioShow.com or that handy-dandy Mighty 1090 smartphone app. If you missed any of the programs, of course, head to iTunes where it's podcasted or at BikeWeekRadioShow.com. And Bike Week Radio Show will be up at IMS Long Beach coming next week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the Long Beach Convention Center. We've been there the last 2 years.
Yeah, and you can find us with our friends from Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney.
Absolutely.
We'll be in their stand.
And joining us right now, Jim Dusky, from who puts together these wonderful events all over the country, not just in Long Beach, but we get the show coming to Long Beach about this time every year. And so always a pleasure having the IMS show in town here. And Jim, good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be on the show. Thanks, guys.
And just tell us real quick of how the shows have been going so far. I think you guys were in Phoenix or currently are in Phoenix right now. Is that right?
Yeah, we're in Phoenix. Well, in Scottsdale right now. We were in San Mateo up near San Francisco last week, and shows are going great. We're very lucky this year that the OEMs put out a lot of new products. So we've got a lot of 2015s. We've even got a few 2016s on the floor this year.
And also just tell us about where people can go if they want to sign up to get tickets and what one-day costs and kid tickets and all that good stuff.
Sure. Motorcycleshows.com. And adults are $15. Kids 6 to 11 are $6. And then on Sunday, we kind of have family day. So 11 and under are free on Sunday.
Very, very cool. And I know we've been excited going up there the last 2 years because we get to talk to
It's always fun.
Yeah,
we're motorcycle guys, so we're like you, Jim. I mean, we like motorcycles. We like motorcycle people, and the Long Beach show is a much anticipated event for Southern California guys like ourselves.
And that's this coming Friday, November the 14th. The gates or doors open at 3 p.m. for the first show on this Friday, November 14th, and also Saturday and Sunday. Correct?
Well, Friday is going to be 3 to 8. Saturday will be 9:30 to 8, and Sunday we'll do 10 to 5. And that's you're right. November 14th, 15th, 16th.
Perfect. At the Long Beach Convention Center, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yep, and then that Bike Week Radio Show will be up there too. So great show, a lot of stuff. Tell the people what they can see besides, like you mentioned, the OEs. You basically have the Kawasaki's, the Hondas, the Yamahas, the Suzuki. They're all broken into categories, and then in little areas showing all their new bikes,
all the accessories.
Yep, all the accessories. You have some custom bike shows. There's just a lot of events for people to see, right?
We've got a lot going on. This is one of our biggest shows, and we've got demo rides from Honda, Can-Am, Harley-Davidson, Indian, Victory, and Yamaha. We've got 15 manufacturers on display inside, bringing out all their best products. And it's not even a motorcycle show. It's really a power sports show. We're going to have watercraft on display. We're going to have four-wheelers, dirt bikes, everything you can imagine from these manufacturers. Like you mentioned, we also have the J&T Cycles Ultimate Builder Custom Bike Show, and that's local builders bring their greatest creations in. They put them on display. There's 5 different categories, and they're competing for cash prizes. The final will be on Sunday, where they present all the cash and those big checks that they get. We've got a stunt show with Jason Britton and the No Limit team. They'll be performing in the parking lot. We've got a brand new Eagle Rider Pavilion this year. Talks about adventure riding and all the different travel arrangements that Eagle Rider can provide. We've got vintage bikes on display. We've got Progressive is our title sponsor. They bring out the School of Rock. So we're going to have different kids out there playing rock and roll on stage. So most of the time when people are listening to the radio or listening to different music on their bikes, they're listening to rock and roll 9 out of 10 times. So we brought a little rock and roll to the show. And we've got all kinds of exhibitors. We've got over 100 exhibitors that'll have different products on display. So you'll get to see all the newest, latest creations, all the new electronics that are available for motorcyclists.
Do you know, does Harley-Davidson have their new electric, the live wire? Are they putting that on display?
Well, I hesitate to give you that information because I want people to find out when they get to the show. But yes, it will be on display. It's a very neat-looking bike.
Brock and I rode it when
I'm
it came
about to
San
say,
Diego.
you're talking, two of us sitting, we've thrown our leg over that thing. So, it's, hey, for us, it's just,
it was cool. That's something people definitely want to check out.
It is that's a neat bike, and the performance.
I got to ride an electric bike last year for the first time, and it was amazing how much it felt like a real motor, like a real, internal combustion engine under you. The torque is immediate from 0 all the way up. And it's a lot of fun to ride. Just makes no noise. That's really the only difference.
Yep. Well, very cool. Jim, we're excited to be up there next week and get over here to Long Beach safely, my friend.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you there.
All right, buddy. Take care there. Once again, we'd love to see you guys, Bike Week Radio Show fans. Always a pleasure seeing you. I got to see some of you guys at Orange County Harley on Friday, and so hopefully
we'll be there
more.
Saturday for sure. One of the segments will be there Saturday, roughly 11 to noon, in the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney display at Long Beach.
We always have T-shirts and cozies and swag, and you're just walking around at the IMS show.
Kitty will be there.
Yeah, Kitty will be there, and so that's really the number one draw. But hope to see you guys all out there. But let's just jump into it. Here's the news with Paul Carruthers.
Nobody knows the news better than Bike Week Radio Show.
This was an age when only men were allowed to read the news.
And only Bike Week Radio Show has Paul Carruthers.
Hey, I'm here. We can do the news now. It's all right, everyone. We can do the news. Hold on. Everyone, why are we all standing around? Let's go.
Well, Paul's intro is now shorter because we don't know how to introduce you now.
Well, took off the editor. It's like,
hey, but you know what?
That's gone.
But wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. Why do they still refer to a former president, former mayor, former governor? He still maintains the title. I'm going to lobby right now that since Paul was there since he was in elementary school as the editor of Cycle News, he's the editor emeritus. Would we go with that?
Perfect.
Huh?
I like that title.
Hey, when you're somewhere you were a couple of pillow awakening moments away from 30 years.
Yeah.
Dude,
he's the brand. He's the franchise.
That's longer than any.
So we're still legit.
Longer than any editor.
But so bottom line is, guys, we don't have to waste any time redoing our bumper for the news. It's killer, and we'll never get a good one like that again.
I'm tearing up.
You are.
Well,
he's not really.
And Paul
I'm
had
sitting
a
next to him.
little send-off party this week too.
That was nice. We the new gang at Cycle News put together a little party for me up at Cook's Corner, which is right there in Lake Forest, up the hill from my house, and we had a good turnout, and it was great. A lot of the old Cycle News people showed up. A lot of people in the industry showed up, and it was good. We had a couple of Hall of Famers in the crowd, and
I never got an invite.
Ooh.
I never even was told about it, what time it was, other than the mention last week briefly on the show.
Well,
wow.
That's too bad because it would have been nice to have you there. Then we would have had 3 Hall of Famers in the crowd. So it was nice. Tom White went up on stage and they did some nice artwork for me where they'd made a collage of a lot of old stories that I'd done and some covers I'd been on, and it was all framed real nice. And Tom White got up on stage and called me up, and he basically interviewed me for about 20 minutes, which was kind of cool. It was almost like, This Is Your Life, if you guys ever remember that show.
I love that show.
I kept expecting like elementary school teachers and stuff to
I like the episodes when things were uncomfortable. All of a sudden, here's your neighbor, Mrs. Schwartz, and the guys
You
go,
broke my window, you little hooligan.
Exactly.
Right. So anyway, it was kind of it was really cool, and I thank everybody that had a part in putting that together for me, because it was a nice send off, and it was cool to have. There was a lot of editors that have gone on to pretty good things that used to work for me or work with me, and most of them were there. So it was nice to see that they still have my back after all these years. So I guess I was doing something right.
You can't discount the free beer.
No, and actually they were buying their own drink, so it was it was strictly for the company and the.
They're hoping to get those hard cards for the new series, like we are, guys.
I will admit the spaghetti's cheap that night, so maybe it was for that.
Yeah, it's like Maynard's 25-cent spaghetti night.
All right, enough of that.
Yeah, stop that.
Stop that.
We've got news to report.
Enough about me. Let's talk about Broc.
Yes.
Enough about me. Let's talk about me.
Yeah.
All right, anyway.
Enough about me. What do you think of me?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Marc Marquez.
Today, I saw him Tuesday, by the way. I just name dropping. I was.
You saw a lot of these guys.
Rossi, Dovizioso.
Yeah, the show Scott was at. That is.
It's the show.
That is the show.
It
is the world global. That's a big deal.
I was packing the hard card. I had access.
Wow.
I hung out with Bob Starr.
It's the first time he's ever packed a hard card.
Or anything hard. But anyway, I digress.
All right, anyway, Marc Marquez. Today was the last MotoGP of the season in Spain, and the series wrapped up the same way it started with back in March with Marquez winning the MotoGP. It was his 13th win of the season, and that 13th win broke Mick Doohan's record of 12 that Mick, who's obviously a legend, 5-time 500cc world champion, he won 12 in 1997. Again, we've talked about this. Doohan actually did that with less races than what Marquez has done. I looked it up today. There's
So did they break it down into percentage?
Yeah.
Okay. Batting average.
As far as a win percentage, Agostini had a 100% win rate in 1968. He won every round, but obviously there weren't 13 of them or 14 of them, or else he'd have that record. Doohan won 80% of his races in 1997, and Marquez won 72.2% this year in 2014. So,
wow. That's why we talked earlier. That's why Mr. Marquez, Papa Marquez, he has no fingernails.
Well, I was going to get to that. And it was cool because he won the last race of the day, which was MotoGP, but all he wanted to really talk about was the fact that his little brother finished third in the Moto3 race and won the world championship. So for the first time in history, we have two brothers who are world champions in road racing.
That is cool.
And I mean, we were talking before the show. I mean, can you imagine how proud that father would be? I mean, you know, when your kids do something.
He's been to the moon now. How do you top this?
Right. If your kid goes 3 for 4 on a Little League game, you're like, oh, my God, this is the greatest day of my life, right? And then to imagine two of your boys winning world championships is like, I mean, I can't imagine that could ever get any better. So
I'll tell you who isn't happy, though. There was a quote from Valentino Rossi earlier today, right after the race, and he says, "My bad luck is called Marc Marquez because without him, I can win the championship in a lot of races."
Well, no, that's true. You know, Rossi finished second again today, and
he was like Chad Reed during the Ricky Carmichael era.
Exactly. Yeah. If not for this guy, I'd be somebody.
Right, but think about how many other guys could say that about if Valentino Rossi wasn't there for those
Valentino
8 or 9
Rossi
times.
doesn't care about the other guys.
Well,
he cares about.
So anyway, Rossi was second. Pedrosa was third. It was kind of a different race. There was a little bit of rain at times. But not enough to make him come in for rain tires, although Jorge Lorenzo thought there was enough rain to come in for rain tires. But then his lap times just dropped off the planet, and the tire wore completely out, and he just gave it up. So he didn't have the right idea on that one, but I guess it was worth a shot since he wasn't really going forward at that point anyway. The battle for fourth was the best one on the track, and it was between Andrea Dovizioso and his Ducati teammate for the last time, Cal Crutchlow. And those guys went at it pretty hard. You could tell Crutchlow wanted to beat Dovizioso in his last race on the Ducati, and he failed to do so, but just, by fractions at the finish line. Already mentioned the Marquez thing. Jack Miller, the Australian kid, won the race today, but it wasn't enough with Marquez finishing third, and that wrapped up that title for him.
That's in Moto.
That's in Moto 3.
Moto 3. Yeah.
Also, this weekend wrapped up the ISDE, which is the International 6-Day Enduro, and that was held in Argentina this year. The U.S. trophy team finished second to France, which a really good result.
Right, equals their best ever, right?
It equals their best ever. That team was made up of Taylor Robert, Caleb Russell, Mike Brown, Charlie Mullins, Thad Duvall, and Zach Osborne. And quite honestly, the team would have challenged for victory if it wasn't for a DNF for Osborne. And then
very early, too.
Yeah, very early.
Bike problems.
Was it like first day?
I think. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Taylor Robert was also penalized 9 minutes on the first day. I'm sorry, on day 3. So those two things pretty much, put the nail in the thing.
Out.
Yeah. But if it wasn't for that, I think they might not have won, but they would have been, right there to the very end.
And the facility in Argentina, if you see the photos from it on cyclenews.com and some other ones.
And also on Bike Week.
It looked like you're out kind of at Havasu or something. I mean, it was
right.
You'd swear you're in Nevada.
It was a desert. It was.
They said it was real similar to local desert races out here.
Yeah, so all the Southern California desert guys that would have been. I wish
Except they said that one important thing is they didn't have as many lizards that they needed to get protected down in Argentina.
Well, and what about the flower?
Right.
And the,
didn't stop them from trying to take the inventory. Though.
Right. Could you imagine trying to pull off this ISDE in the Southern California desert and make, I think you'd
I'd
have
like to try.
You could start getting permits now for maybe 2048 or something.
Exactly.
But anyhow, on good news from that event, more good news was that the U.S. Junior World Team won the event, and they beat France. So we lost to France with the trophy team, but we beat them with the Junior World Team, and that's the first time since Kurt Caselli led them to victory. The late Kurt Caselli led them to victory in 2006. So I think that was a pretty
Gary Justin Jones, right?
I don't have the list.
Yeah,
of names.
Son Justin
Jones.
Talk about a chip off the old block.
Yeah, you're talking about a proud papa there. I mean, 4-time AMA champion. He's probably more proud of Justin's accomplishment.
For sure
That's
is.
awesome.
There's no question.
So that was cool, and apparently that was I'm sure that was an emotional win because of the Caselli deal, and I think overall you'd have to say that's a successful ISDE for the Americans, and
very successful.
And I think it's something to build on, and get more people excited about it, and that makes young kids that are coming up, want to work towards being on that team one day. So, that's it on the news front.
Well, also though, Scott Cox has a big trip to recap with us.
Oh man, and I'm just here literally for a couple hours now because of the long travel day back and fog that we've had here in San Diego and Los Angeles. Couldn't get off the ground. Had to bail out of the plane and rent a car and had to make my show here, but it's exciting. I'll recap it, at another time. But just hitting the high spots, big introductions, new product introductions from Yamaha and from Ducati, as is usually the case over there in Italy. But a lot of great product. The crowds there. Brock, have you been to EICMA? I know, Paul, you've been to EICMA.
Yeah, I've been.
It's just so big. It's inspirational. I was there from the first hour on Monday, and I stayed until 8 o'clock on Friday night, and people were still coming. The show on Friday night is open to the public. It starts out, it's trade and intros Monday, Tuesday, then it's dealers Wednesday, Thursday, and then they open it up to the public, and on Fridays, the first night, they go to 10 p.m., and I'm getting on the train to get ready to head for the airport at 8:30 on Friday, and it was like noon. There were people pouring off of the trains and coming to the trade show fair there at Fiera Milano. And it doesn't matter what your interest is. If you're a MotoGP aficionado, they got everything in the world under the sun for MotoGP. If you're an adventure rider, that's a huge category here and over there. Every little manufacturer from every corner of the world. People from Pakistan, India, of course, all the Japanese heavily represented, the Chinese. Big American presence there with Harley Davidson and racers. You talk about Mick Doohan. I mean, I didn't see him this year, but there's Troy Corser. There's just, as you're walking along, there's Marc Marquez, Andre Dovizioso, Iannone, the other Ducati rider. He was introduced with during the Ducati press introduction. Ducati is really rolling out in a big way again here at EICMA. Their new Scrambler, which is
that thing's cool,
which is really popular. They had a cool deal. We went to a press introduction at the theater in downtown Milano on Tuesday evening with a bunch of editors, and it was just a proper theater. It's packed, international media, and they debuted some new product, new road bikes. They did debut the Scrambler, but nobody does an intro like Ducati does. I mean, they're telling it's like opera. Every time they rolled out new bikes, they had dancers, and I'll put a bunch of photos and videos.
Plenty of kitty.
Seriously, I mean, but elaborate choreographed dance routines.
Huge.
The only thing they didn't have in there was shooting off fireworks, and I was ready for that to happen too. So we did that,
and they probably could have got away with it.
Well, they had so much activity going on in the theater; it was so packed, they didn't have room to show a bunch of the other stuff. So they put us on a bus. 30 minutes later, we get off at some other place. We walk in there. They've got a DJ. They've got this kind of a, rockabilly scene. They've got a barber. They're giving away haircuts and shaves. They're having beer, barbecue, and they're making pasta. I mean, we're just I'm with the American
your hair does
contingent.
look nice today too, by the way.
Yeah.
I do what I can. Grooming is important.
And you know what I like about you're talking about? You're saying, I mean, here's these guys in the middle of the MotoGP season. They got one more race going on. You got all this, and they're a lot of these guys are there at the event.
They're there at the event.
They're not. We have a big show over here, and it's so hard to get any of our guys to realize. I mean, these are the bread.
Valentino Rossi's there.
Exactly.
Mark Marquez is there.
Right.
Andre Dovizioso's there. I mean, these
are
guys that
could
do a bunch of other stuff, and it's important. For them
it's
to
like
be
everybody
there.
here complains that we're not big enough, but yet not a lot of people are willing to do anything to help us make it bigger.
Exactly the point. Sometimes you got to,
Well, I'm going to change that single-handedly.
Absolutely.
But you go to, and they're fans. One thing, and maybe this is a point of difference, and I'm not naysaying to any of our champions here in the States, but I met an enduro guy through the beta. And he's there. He's at the show. He's walking around with a bag just like I am. He's collecting stuff. He's looking at product.
Got one of the world's best enduro riders.
He's an enduro world champion, and he's out there because he's a motorcycle enthusiast. He's a motorcycle fan. Giacomo Agostini's walking around. I mean, it's mind blowing. It's like if you were a movie fan and you went to a movie show.
And all the movie stars are walking around. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like if you ever get a chance, EICMA, it happens every year in November, and sometime in your motorcycle life, you've got to
put it in the bucket list and go to Italy and go to.
It's well worth the effort to get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming home a little rugged, but going there, it's perfect.
Very cool. Well, up next, Rob Bidos, good friend of Bike Week Radio Show, coming back on. Man, it's been forever since we've talked to Rob, and just
because we weren't fired up enough. We need
right.
We need Rob
energy.
to breathe some.
We need some energy in this room.
That's right.
Yeah, what'd you guys eat this morning, man? You guys are all fired up today.
That's right.
Like herding cats in here for me.
I got two words
trying
for
to
you.
corral you guys today. But Rob Bidos coming back right here on Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego Sports Leader, Mighty 1090.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year. Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7. Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown. 1-800-4BIKERS and online at russbrown.com. For 46 years, Costa Mesa Speedway has been the most exciting, colorful, and unpredictable live-action show ever. From the comfort of grandstand seating, your friends and family will witness top professional speedway motorcycle racing, insane two-man sidecar teams, Harley hardcores, freestyle motocross, and much more. Check out their entire schedule at CostaMesaSpeedway.net. Costa Mesa Speedway on the Orange County Fairgrounds Saturday nights. Don't miss it. CostaMesaSpeedway.net.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Hi, James here from Toyota of Escondido. Guys, if you're into motocross and you want to get your bike out to the track in style, there's only one place to shop, and that's right here at Toyota of Escondido. If you're looking for the 2013 Toyota Tacoma or the Toyota Tundra, Toyota of Escondido has them and many more. The largest selection in San Diego. And before you waste your time anywhere else, looking for some limp lane pickup, stop by or give us a call. Toyota of Escondido. Freeway close where Highway 78 meets Broadway, just east of the 15.
This is Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back, Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego sports leader, mighty 1090, final segment of the show. And let's waste no time because this man has the gift of gab, and it's always a pleasure to have him on. Mr. Rob Bidos joins Bike Week Radio Show once again. Good morning, Rob.
Hey, guys, what's going on out there?
Oh, same old, my friend. Missing you, though. It's been a while since we had you on, and, whenever we should just, set up a weekly or a monthly appointment and say, hey, every third Sunday we got to bring Rob back on.
I agree.
Well, one of the things, you guys have such an array of high-quality guests on here. I appreciate that you do find a little bit of time to get somebody out there that's kind of in the trenches and just trying to dig up a little behind the scenes of what's going on. Today I find myself up in Novi, Michigan, at the biggest snowmobile show, I think, in the United States of America, checking out all the new sleds and all the different features up here.
You're a real sled head, aren't you, Rob?
Oh,
just admit it. You're a sled head.
I am. After last night's rubbing of the Michigan State Spartans by the Ohio State Buckeyes, Ohio State, so I wanted to come up here, I wanted to be a little part of the scene, so I'm checking it out. But then as I'm coming up here, I'm checking out what's going on behind the scenes. How about the Junkyard Dog's son, Ryan Dowd, picking up a 250 arena cross win, the youngster? We should have another Dowd
just like the old man.
That's pretty awesome. Talking about second generation, that's neat to see Ryan. He's into it, no doubt about it. I spent some time with his mom and dad over in England here about a month ago, and it's one of those things. Well, kid wants to do it. I guess I'll back him, and we'll just see how far it goes.
They were the first father and son to actually ride a national the same day. John picked up some points in the 450 class. Unfortunately, Ryan had a tough go and didn't get to qualify in the 250. But that's got to be tough when your dad at 47 years old is a little bit quicker than you are.
It definitely has to be tough.
That kind of falls in the category of corporal punishment, wouldn't you think?
I think so.
He took a beating from the old man.
Did you guys follow the ISPE where the American team, another off-road powerhouse, went over there and secured what is our best finish? It's tied our best finish as a second.
Yeah,
boy, I got to ask you, how does the American team that has the entire country to pick 4 or 5 guys from, how can we not win this thing? We get beat by France in Motocross of Nations. We get beat by France at the 6 days. I mean, what's going on?
Well, that's a good question, and we did talk about that in Paul's news segment. But, obviously Zach Osborne's mechanical DNF early put us behind the 8 ball, and then the 9-minute penalty to Taylor Roberts there didn't help very much either. But it was a close one, and it was a circuit in an area that was probably conducive to a good American finish with a little desert. But, we had guys like Caleb Russell. He hasn't spent a whole lot of time in the desert Southwest. So it was kind of even, and I think the American team's right there. And then we had the junior team take the win. So an excellent outing. And now it's looking like the Americans and the French are risen to the top.
I see his point there, though. How do we lose to France?
And
I apologize
to America, for
any of our
God's
listeners who are French, but I apologize. But, I mean, seriously.
In the Motocross of Nations, I know how we lost.
But it shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't, but I was there and I watched it. But, yeah, that's a good question. So Rob, real quick, what else? We got, Villapoto sightings.
You were just talking about France. How about the guys are getting ready to head over to Bercy? But it's not Bercy in the traditional sense. The stadium's undergoing quite a bit of renovation, so they moved the facility a ways away. And I watch these. I know some of these guys are going over there making some money. They get show-up money. They get start money. But then I think the last thing you want to do is get a little bit banged up in a foreign country right now. The way the medical treatment is and stuff. These guys are thousands of miles from home. It's
free medical.
I think it's a dicey call.
Yeah, it is.
You
it is
go
tough.
And do it, and you make some money, and because there's obviously no championships or whatnot to win, or you stay here, you get trained, and you get ready, and then come Anaheim 1, you're ready to go.
Yep, it is tough. I mean, some of those guys can go over there, race a couple races, get back, maybe make $100,000 or something like that. But on the flip side, some guys just need to race more to stay sharp. You come into Anaheim and everybody has that first race jitters. But if you spend a little time racing in arena cross, sharpening your skills over in France, or maybe it's in Italy or something like that, it's it's not a bad way to keep your skills sharp. And it's the whole shots are important and the speed's important. But certainly don't want to risk being injured for Anaheim 1. So.
Just like we hone our skills here in the radio every week.
So, Rob, thanks, man. Be safe. Enjoy that snowmobile show, and we'll catch up with you again real soon. And thanks for calling in.
Hey, guys, everybody out in California, have a great day. We'll see you soon. Go Buckeyes!
In Ohio and through.
Well, that'll do it for Bike Week Radio Show. Once again, IMS Long Beach will be there on Saturday, November 15th. In partnership with the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys tent. If you see that, come hang out, come say hi. If you missed any of the program, head to bikeweekradioshow.com or check out the podcast on iTunes. Thank you again for listening. We'll be back next Sunday right here on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090.
You've been listening to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Join us next week for more Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego's sports leader, the Mighty 1090.